Tom was a man who knew how to keep going, even when life made things difficult. He lived in a small town with quiet streets and warm neighbors. His little house was simple, but it was filled with love. Every morning, Tom woke up early to get ready for his day. He was a single father, taking care of his 6-year-old daughter, Lily, all by himself. Tom worked at the gas station down the road. It was not a big job, but it helped pay the bills. Besides that, Tom was good with cars. He had learned how to fix them from his own father, who had taught him everything before passing away. Tom had a small garage next to his house where he fixed cars for people in town. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was honest work. What mattered most to Tom was making sure Lily never felt the lack of love or care. That morning was colder than usual. A thin fog covered the ground, and the sun was just starting to rise. Tom was closing his garage after finishing a small repair on Mrs. Jenkins' old truck when he heard a strange noise coming from the road. It was a loud sputtering sound, followed by the screech of a car pulling over. Tom looked up, curious. Not far from his driveway, a bright red Mustang was stopped by the side of the road. The car's hood was open, and white smoke was rising slowly into the chilly air. Tom could see a woman standing beside the car. She looked upset and unsure of what to do. Her clothes were neat and clean, and she carried herself with a kind of quiet strength, but there was worry in her eyes. Tom wiped his hands on an old rag and walked toward the car. "Looks like you're having some trouble," he said kindly. The woman turned to him with a small, tired smile. "Yes, I don't know much about cars," she said softly. "It just stopped. I tried to start it again, but nothing happened." Tom nodded. "I can take a look if you want. I fix cars for a living." His voice was gentle but confident. "Thank you," she replied. "I'm Mara." "Tom," he said, holding out his hand. She shook it, her grip steady. Tom knelt down and looked under the hood. The engine was cold and wet with a little oil. "Looks like your car overheated. Maybe the radiator is leaking or the coolant is low. Let me check." Mara watched him quietly. She had been driving for hours and had no idea where she was. This town was far from the busy city where she lived. But something about this man made her feel safe, even in this strange place. As Tom worked, he asked gently, "Are you from around here?" "No," Mara said. "I was traveling to see a client when the car broke down." Tom smiled. "Well, you're lucky you stopped here. I fix cars all the time." Mara looked at him with grateful eyes. "Thank you, Tom. I don't know what I would have done if you weren't here." Tom shrugged. "It's no trouble. I'm glad to help." While Tom worked, Mara looked around the small town with interest. It was different from the fast life she was used to. The people here seemed slower, kinder, and less rushed. The houses were older, with gardens full of flowers and trees. It reminded her of her own childhood, before everything became complicated. Tom found the problem quickly. The coolant hose had a small crack, and it was leaking. Without coolant, the engine could not stay cool, so it stopped running. "I can fix this hose for you," Tom said. "It won't take long." Mara nodded. "Thank you. I'm sorry to trouble you." "It's no trouble at all," Tom said. "It's nice to help someone. Especially someone who looks like she needs it." As Tom worked on the hose, Mara told him a little about her life, careful not to share too much. She said she worked in business, but didn't want to go into details. Tom listened with interest, but he didn't ask many questions. He knew some stories were private. After about an hour, Tom finished the repair. He started the car, and the engine ran smoothly. Mara's face lit up with relief and gratitude. "Thank you so much, Tom. I don't know how to repay you." Tom smiled. "Just promise me you'll be safe on the road." Mara nodded. "I will. And maybe someday I'll return the favor." Tom laughed softly. "You don't have to. Just drive safe." Before she left, Mara reached into her purse and pulled out a small box. "Please take this," she said, handing it to Tom. "It's just a little thank you." Tom was surprised but accepted it with a smile. He didn't expect anything. Helping was enough. As Mara drove away, Tom watched her Mustang disappear down the road. He felt something change inside him that day. He didn't know what the future held, but somehow, he knew that this broken Mustang had brought more than just a repaired car, it had brought a new hope. The next morning, Tom woke up earlier than usual. The sun had barely risen, but he already felt a strange excitement in his chest. He wasn't sure why, but his mind kept going back to the red Mustang and the woman who had been so kind, yet quiet, yesterday. Her name was Mara. He wondered if she had made it safely back on the road. Tom prepared breakfast for Lily, who bounced happily around the kitchen, talking about her day at school. Even though life was hard sometimes, Tom made sure their little home was full of laughter and hope. After dropping Lily off at school, Tom went to open his garage. He was surprised to see a small package sitting on the porch, wrapped in simple brown paper and tied with a bright blue ribbon. There was no note, only the package. Tom picked it up carefully. It was light but felt important. He brought it inside and opened it slowly. Inside, there was a small, beautifully carved wooden box. Tom lifted the lid and saw a collection of old keys, each one different and unique. Confused, Tom looked around for any clues, but there was nothing else. He felt a little strange, unsure what the keys meant. He sat down at the kitchen table, turning the box over in his hands. Just then, his phone rang. It was an unknown number. "Hello." Tom answered cautiously. "Hi, Tom. This is Mara," the woman's voice said softly. "I wanted to thank you again for helping me with my car yesterday. I know it was a small thing, but you don't know how much it meant to me." Tom smiled, relieved to hear her voice. "It was no trouble at all. I'm glad you're safe." "I left something for you," Mara continued. "The keys in the box, there for something important. I don't expect you to understand right now. But someday, I hope you will." Tom was silent for a moment. "Thank you, Mara. That's very kind of you. Please take care of yourself and Lily," she said before hanging up. Tom looked at the keys again. They were beautiful and old, some rusty, some shiny. Each had a different shape, like pieces of a puzzle waiting to be solved. The rest of the day, Tom couldn't stop thinking about Mara and the mysterious gift. He decided to ask around the town to see if anyone knew anything about the keys. Maybe they belonged to a local place or a forgotten building. At the gas station, Tom talked to Mrs. Jenkins, the kind old woman who had been a part of the town for as long as anyone could remember. "Do you know anything about keys like these?" Tom asked, showing her one of the keys. Mrs. Jenkins took it carefully and studied it. That looks like the key to the old library down on Main Street. It's been closed for years." Tom's eyes lit up. "The old library?" "Yes," she said. It was shut down when the new one opened. The building is empty now. People say it's full of memories and secrets. Tom felt a spark of curiosity. Maybe this was the start of something new. Something different. After work, Tom decided to visit the old library. The building was tall and covered in vines. The windows were dusty, and the door looked heavy and worn. Tom pulled out one of the keys and tried it on the lock. To his surprise, the key fit perfectly. The door creaked open, revealing a room filled with books, old furniture, and the smell of forgotten stories. Tom stepped inside, the sunlight streaming through broken windows. He walked carefully between the shelves, his heart pounding. The library was more than just a building, it was a place full of history, waiting to be brought back to life. Suddenly, Tom heard a small noise behind him. He turned and saw Lily, holding his hand, her eyes wide with wonder. "Daddy, this place is amazing," she whispered. Tom smiled, feeling a warmth spread through his chest. For the first time in a long time, he felt hope for the future, not just for himself, but for Lily too. They spent the evening exploring the library. Tom found old books about cars, gardening, and even stories about kindness and courage. Lily found a dusty storybook with pictures of magical forests and brave heroes. As they left the library, Tom looked up at the sky. The stars were beginning to shine, and the night felt calm and full of promise. Tom didn't know what the keys really meant yet, but he felt sure they were a gift of something important. Not just for him, but for his little family. That night, Tom sat by Lily's bedside and held her hand. "Lily," he said softly, "something good is coming. I don't know what yet, but we'll find out together." Lily smiled sleepily and squeezed his hand. "I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, sweetheart," Tom whispered. As Tom closed the door behind him, he looked back once more at the wooden box on the kitchen table. The keys inside glinted softly in the moonlight, waiting for the next step of the journey. The days after finding the keys and exploring the old library were some of the most hopeful Tom had felt in a long time. Every evening after work, he and Lily would return to the library to look through dusty books and imagine what the building had once been. For Lily, it was like discovering a treasure chest filled with stories and dreams. For Tom, it was a quiet reminder that life could still surprise him. One afternoon, Tom was working on an old pickup truck in his garage when the doorbell rang. He wiped his hands on a rag and went to the door. Outside stood Mara. Tom blinked in surprise. "Mara? What a nice surprise. Come in." Mara smiled warmly but looked a little tired. "Thank you, Tom. I hope I'm not bothering you." "Not at all," Tom said, stepping aside to let her in. Lily, who had been playing in the living room, peeked around the corner and smiled shyly at Mara. The woman crouched down and waved gently. "Hello, Lily. You're very brave." Lily smiled and ran to Tom. "Daddy, who is she?" Tom smiled. "This is Mara, the woman whose car I fixed." Mara looked at Tom with gratitude. "I wanted to see you both again and thank you properly." Tom nodded. "You don't have to thank me. I'm glad I could help." They sat down at the kitchen table. Mara looked around the small house, noticing the simple furniture and the pictures of Lily smiling brightly on the walls. She seemed touched by the love in the room. After a moment, Mara reached into her purse and pulled out a small envelope. She handed it to Tom. "Please open it when you're alone," she said softly. Tom took the envelope carefully but did not open it yet. Instead, he looked at Mara. Is everything okay? You seem tired. Mara sighed quietly. Life can be complicated. I have a lot of responsibilities, things most people don't see. But meeting you and Lily reminded me of what's really important. Tom nodded slowly. Sometimes, the simplest things mean the most. They talked for a while about their lives. Tom shared stories about Lily and his work, while Mara spoke about her travels and the challenges she faced. She didn't share too many details about her work, but there was a softness in her voice when she talked about finding kindness in unexpected places. Before Mara left, she smiled again. I'll be in town for a few days. Maybe we can meet again. Tom stood and shook her hand. I'd like that. As Mara walked away, Tom felt a strange mix of emotions: hope, curiosity, and a little nervousness. What was this connection between them? Could it grow into something more? After Mara left, Tom sat down and finally opened the envelope. Inside was a small card with an address and a note that said, "If you ever want to understand the keys, come here. I will explain everything." Tom's heart raced. The address was for a large building on the edge of town, a place he had never been. It looked like an old office or warehouse. That night, Tom couldn't stop thinking about Mara and the mysterious message. He wondered what kind of secrets the keys held, and why she had trusted him with them. The next morning, after dropping Lily off at school, Tom decided to visit the address. When he arrived, the building looked empty and quiet. The windows were dark, and the door was locked. Tom hesitated, then remembered the keys. He pulled out the box and tried each key in the door. After several attempts, one key fit, and the door clicked open. Inside, the building was surprisingly clean and modern, but there was an air of mystery. Tom walked carefully through the halls, calling out softly, "Hello? Mara." After a few minutes, a door opened at the end of the hall. Mara appeared, smiling. "Welcome," she said. "I'm glad you came." Mara led Tom to a bright office filled with pictures, screens, and papers. She sat down and took a deep breath. "Tom, I want to tell you the truth," she said quietly. "I own a company, a big company. But I don't want that to change how you see me. Yesterday, when my car broke down, I just wanted to be treated like any other person." Tom listened, surprised but calm. "My company works on technology that helps people," Mara continued. "But sometimes, I feel trapped in a world of rules and expectations. Meeting you reminded me of what really matters: kindness, family, and simple moments." Tom smiled softly. "You sound like a good person, Mara. That's what counts." Mara's eyes glistened. "Thank you, Tom. I want you to have these keys because they unlock places that are part of my past, places I hope to share with you someday. But more than that, I want to offer you a chance." Tom frowned slightly, curious. "I want to help you and Lily," Mara said. "I see how hard you work, and I want to make things easier for you." Tom was quiet. He didn't know what to say. "Nothing is expected in return," Mara added quickly. "Just friendship." Tom felt a warmth in his heart. For the first time, he believed that maybe life could be better. Maybe this broken Mustang, these mysterious keys, and this unexpected woman were signs of a new beginning. As Tom left the building, he looked at the keys in his hand and smiled. Whatever came next, he was ready. After leaving Mara's office, Tom felt a mixture of surprise and hope swirling inside him. He had never imagined that helping a stranger with a broken car could lead to something so unexpected. For years, he had worked hard to keep life stable for his daughter, Lily, never dreaming that someone from such a different world would want to be part of their lives. The next morning, Tom sat at the kitchen table, the wooden box with the keys resting beside his morning coffee. Lily was already talking about her school day, her eyes full of innocence and joy. Tom smiled and ruffled her hair gently. "I'm going to work on the garage today, Lily. Maybe after school, we can check out the library again," Tom said. Lily nodded happily. "Can we read the magic book again?" Tom chuckled. Of course. As Tom worked in the garage, fixing an old car for Mr. Parker, the local mail carrier dropped off a letter addressed to him. Curious, Tom opened it. Inside was a simple invitation with Mara's signature at the bottom. "Tom, I'd like to invite you and Lily to visit my home this weekend. No business, just friends. I want you both to feel welcome." Tom was surprised. Mara had offered more than help or friendship, she was inviting them into her world. That evening, after putting Lily to bed, Tom thought long and hard. It wasn't just about the money or the company Mara owned, it was about trust, about a chance to build something new. Could he accept? Could he believe that life might be kinder than he had imagined? On Saturday morning, Tom packed a small bag. He told Lily they were going on a little adventure. She squealed with excitement, jumping up and down. The drive to Mara's home was unlike anything Tom was used to. Her house was in a beautiful part of town, surrounded by trees and flowers, with a large garden that looked like it belonged in a magazine. It was peaceful, warm, and inviting. Mara greeted them at the door with a bright smile. "Welcome," she said, holding Lily's hand gently. Inside, the house was filled with light and laughter. Mara had prepared a simple meal, but everything felt special. Tom could see the effort she had made to make them comfortable. As they ate, Mara shared stories about her childhood and how she had worked hard to build her company. But she also talked about her fears, the loneliness that sometimes came with success, and her wish to find real friendship. Tom listened closely. He saw in Mara not just a successful businesswoman, but someone who cared deeply and wanted to connect. After lunch, Mara took Tom to a room filled with shelves of books, trophies, and photos. She showed him pictures of her family and her team, people who had helped her along the way. Tom felt a little shy but grateful. "Thank you for inviting us. It means a lot." Mara smiled warmly. "You deserve it, Tom." Later, Mara showed them a small garden outside, where she grew flowers and herbs. Lily ran around, laughing and playing, while Tom helped Mara plant new seeds. It was a day full of simple joys, friendship, nature, and the feeling of being welcome. As the sun began to set, Mara gave Tom a small envelope. "This is for you," she said softly. "A little help for you and Lily." Tom hesitated but accepted it. Inside was enough money to pay off a few bills and fix up the garage properly. "No strings," Mara said quickly. "Just a gift." Tom was touched beyond words. For so long, he had struggled to provide for Lily. This kindness was overwhelming. On the drive home, Tom looked over at Lily, who was peacefully sleeping in her car seat. He felt a new strength inside him, a belief that life could change for the better. That night, Tom sat by Lily's bed and whispered, "We're going to be okay, Lily. I promise." Lily smiled in her sleep. The next days were different. Tom found himself smiling more. He worked harder in the garage, but now with hope and energy he hadn't felt in years. He called Mara one afternoon. "Thank you for everything. You've changed my life." Mara's voice was gentle. You changed mine too, Tom. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness grow into the biggest blessings. Tom looked at the box of keys on his desk. Each key was a symbol of a new door, new opportunities, new friendships, and a new beginning. He didn't know what the future held, but for the first time, he was ready to face it with an open heart. The weeks that followed felt like a breath of fresh air for Tom and Lily. The kindness Mara showed was more than just a gift, it was a sign that life could be different. With the money she gave, Tom was able to fix up his garage and buy better tools. His repairs became quicker, and more people in town started bringing their cars to him. Lily noticed the change in her father. Tom was happier, less tired. He spent more time playing with her, telling stories, and even reading to her at night before bed. The little things that were once hard suddenly felt possible. One evening, after dinner, Tom sat on the porch with Lily, watching the sun dip below the horizon. Lily leaned against him, her small hand holding his. "Daddy," she said softly, "can I ask you something?" "Of course, sweetheart," Tom replied. "Do you think we will be okay? Like, really okay?" Tom smiled and hugged her close. "Yes, Lily. We're going to be more than okay. We have each other, and that's the most important thing." Lily smiled back, feeling safe and loved. The next day, Tom got a call from Mara. She invited him and Lily to a community event her company was hosting, a fair to help local families and children. Tom felt nervous but agreed. He wanted Lily to see that there were good people in the world, people who cared. At the event, the town was alive with music, games, and laughter. Children ran around with balloons, and families shared food and stories. Mara greeted them warmly and introduced Tom to several of her friends and colleagues. It was a side of her Tom hadn't seen before, a leader who cared deeply about her community. Lily's eyes sparkled as she joined the games and activities. Tom watched her, feeling proud and hopeful. Mara pulled Tom aside. "You're doing great, Tom. I see how much you care about Lily. That's what makes you strong." Tom looked at her, grateful. "Thank you, Mara. For everything." "You're welcome," she said softly. After the event, Tom and Lily walked home, tired but happy. Tom felt something new inside, a chance to dream. That night, he sat at his kitchen table, thinking about what he wanted for their future. With Mara's help, maybe he could start something bigger than just fixing cars in a small town. Maybe he could create a better life for Lily, one full of opportunities. He remembered the keys Mara had given him. They were more than just old objects, they were symbols of doors waiting to be opened. The next morning, Tom took the box of keys to the library. He wondered if there were more secrets hidden in the building. As he walked through the library's quiet halls, Tom's phone buzzed. It was a message from Mara, "Come by the office after work. I have something to show you." Curious, Tom agreed. That evening, Tom arrived at Mara's office. She greeted him with a smile and led him to a conference room filled with blueprints, designs, and photos of cars and new inventions. "I've been working on something," Mara explained. "A project to help people like you, hard-working families who want a fresh start." Tom listened carefully as Mara described her plan, a program to teach car repair skills to people in small towns, giving them a chance to earn steady income and build better futures. "I want you to be part of it, Tom," Mara said. "Your experience, your heart, it's exactly what we need." Tom's eyes widened. He never imagined this could happen. The idea of teaching others, helping families like his own, made his heart swell with hope. "I'd be honored," Tom said quietly. Mara smiled. "Together, we can make a difference." Over the next weeks, Tom worked with Mara and her team to plan the program. They found a space in town where classes could be held, and Tom began preparing lessons based on his years of experience. Lily watched her father with pride. She could see the light returning to his eyes, the confidence growing with every step. One afternoon, as Tom closed the garage, a young man approached. "Hey, I heard about your classes. I want to learn." Tom smiled, remembering his own start years ago. "You're welcome anytime." As the days turned into months, the program grew. More people joined, eager to learn and build better lives. Tom's small garage became a place of hope and community, a place where dreams were possible. One evening, as Tom and Lily sat watching the stars, Tom whispered, "This is just the beginning, Lily. We're going to open many doors." Lily smiled sleepily. "I'm glad, Daddy." Tom held her close, knowing that with kindness, hard work, and a little help from unexpected friends, anything was possible. Tom's life had changed in ways he never imagined. The small repair program he started with Mara's help was growing steadily, and the garage was now a place filled with laughter, learning, and hope. People came from different parts of the town, eager to learn car repair skills and create a better life for themselves and their families. But change was never easy. One rainy afternoon, as Tom was closing the garage, he noticed a man standing at the entrance. The man looked serious and wore a dark suit. Tom felt a little nervous but greeted him kindly. "Hello. Can I help you?" Tom asked. The man introduced himself as Mr. Collins, a representative from a big company interested in buying the building where Tom had started his program. "We've heard about your work, Tom," Mr. Collins said. "It's impressive. But the company has plans for this land that don't include small businesses." Tom's heart sank. The garage was not just a workplace, it was a community center, a place where people found hope. "We can't just leave," Tom said quietly. "This program means a lot to many people." Mr. Collins nodded slowly. "I understand, but these are business decisions. You may need to find a new place." After the man left, Tom felt heavy inside. He went home and told Lily what happened. Lily listened carefully. "Daddy, you can't give up. You promised me we would be okay." Tom smiled at her bravery. "You're right, Lily. We can't give up." The next day, Tom called Mara and told her about the problem. Mara was quiet for a moment, then said, "Don't worry, Tom. We will find a solution together." True to her word, Mara used her connections and resources to help Tom find a new location for the program. She also reached out to local leaders to explain how important the garage was for the community. The townspeople heard about the situation and showed their support. They wrote letters, shared stories, and gathered together to speak for Tom and the program. One evening, during a town meeting, many people stood up to tell their stories about how Tom's garage had changed their lives. Mr. Collins listened carefully as the community spoke. He began to understand that this place was more than just land, it was a symbol of hope. After the meeting, Mara approached Mr. Collins. "There is another way," she said. "Let's work together to support this program instead of closing it." Mr. Collins nodded thoughtfully. "I agree. Let's find a solution that works for everyone." With Mara's help, they created a plan to keep the garage running in a new space nearby. The company agreed to invest in the program, helping it grow even bigger. Tom felt a deep gratitude for Mara and the community. This challenge, though difficult, had shown him the power of working together. The new location was bigger and brighter, with more space for classes and tools. Tom and the students worked hard to set it up, excited for the future. One afternoon, Mara visited the new garage. She watched as Tom taught a group of young people how to change tires and fix engines. "You're doing great, Tom," she said quietly. Tom looked up, smiling. "I couldn't do it without you." Mara shook her head. "You did the hard part. You believed." As the weeks passed, Tom noticed how much the program was changing lives. People who once struggled were now learning skills, earning money, and dreaming bigger dreams. One young woman named Anna, who had joined the program 6 months ago, came to Tom one day. "Thank you, Tom. You gave me hope when I thought there was none." Tom felt tears in his eyes. "Keep believing, Anna. You're stronger than you know." Back at home, Tom and Lily continued their simple but happy life. They spent evenings reading, playing games, and talking about their dreams. One night, Lily asked, "Daddy, do you think we will ever be rich?" Tom smiled and hugged her. "Being rich is not about money, Lily. It's about love, hope, and the people we help." Lily smiled back, her eyes shining. "I want to help people too." Tom kissed her forehead. "You already do, every day." Tom looked at the box of keys on his desk. Each key was a reminder of a journey of kindness, courage, and new beginnings. No matter what challenges came next, Tom knew he wasn't alone. With friends like Mara, a loving daughter, and a community behind him, he was ready to face the future stronger than ever. Months passed, and Tom's life was filled with new possibilities. The repair program, now running in its larger space, had become a beacon of hope for many in the town. Tom was no longer just a struggling single dad fixing cars, he was a mentor, a teacher, and a symbol of what kindness and hard work could accomplish. One sunny morning, Tom was busy organizing tools in the new garage when Lily burst in, her eyes bright with excitement. "Daddy. Guess what?" she said, holding a piece of paper in her hand. Tom smiled warmly. "What is it, Lily?" Lily ran over and handed him the paper. It was a drawing she had made at school, a picture of her family standing in front of a big building, with smiling people around them. "It's us and the garage," Lily explained. "My teacher says it's important to believe in your dreams." Tom looked at the drawing and felt his heart swell. "That's a beautiful picture, Lily. Just like you." Later that day, Mara stopped by the garage. She had always been a quiet support in Tom's life, but now she was more like family. "I wanted to check in," Mara said, looking around the busy garage. "You've done something amazing here." Tom shrugged, feeling humble. "It's not just me. It's everyone who comes through these doors." Mara smiled. "I have something for you." She handed Tom a small box. Tom opened it carefully. Inside was a new key, shining and polished, different from the others. "This key," Mara explained, "is for the new office space we've prepared for you and your program. It's a place to help more people, to grow even more." Tom was speechless. The gesture showed Mara's continued trust and belief in him. "Thank you," Tom said softly. "I don't know what to say." "Just keep being you," Mara replied. Days turned into weeks, and Tom found himself busier than ever. With the new space, he was able to add classes about business and finance, helping people not only fix cars but also learn how to manage their own shops one day. Lily helped too. She loved meeting the students and would often bring snacks or help organize small events. One afternoon, as Tom closed the garage, Mara invited him to a small celebration in the new office. It was a gathering of students, community members, and friends. Everyone shared stories about how the program had changed their lives. A young man named Carlos stood up and said, "I was lost before I found this place. Tom showed me that with hard work and kindness, I can have a future." The room filled with applause. Tom looked around, feeling grateful beyond words. After the event, Tom and Mara stepped outside into the cool evening air. The stars twinkled above, and the town was quiet. "Mara," Tom said, "I never imagined that fixing your car would lead to all of this." Mara smiled softly. "Sometimes, the smallest moments change everything." Tom looked at her, his eyes full of gratitude and something more hope for what might come next. As the months passed, Tom and Mara's friendship deepened. They supported each other through challenges and celebrated each other's victories. And through it all, Lily remained the joyful heart of their lives. One evening, as Tom tucked Lily into bed, she whispered, "Daddy, do you think we'll always be happy?" Tom kissed her forehead. "I think happiness comes from love and hope, Lily. And as long as we have those, we will be." Lily smiled sleepily and closed her eyes. Tom sat by her bed, thinking about how far they had come. From struggling to make ends meet to building a community of hope and kindness, their journey was proof that life could surprise you in the best ways. The box of keys sat on his desk, each one a symbol of a door opened, a new chance given, and a life changed. Tom knew the road ahead would have ups and downs, but with love, friendship, and determination, the future was bright. And so, the struggling single dad who once helped a woman fix her Mustang found not only friendship and support but also a new life filled with hope, purpose, and endless possibilities.